year. Couple of transfer portal notes. UCLA gets Carson Steele, Ball State running back. Now, you have to pay attention, but 1,556 yards and 14 touchdowns for Ball State in the MAC. And that now confirmed. He's got 2,400-plus yards in his career. UCLA gets a young man that put up a lot of numbers at Ball State, and they now get some boost to their running back room.
But by the way, Garrett, I'm going to try to send you a picture really quick of Carson Steele, and you tell me when you guys see this. I'll send it to the desktop. But you tell me when you see this if this guy really was going to go anywhere but UCLA when you see Carson Steele. But one of the things I noticed Chip Kelly's doing, and other coaches have done it, but Chip went to the MAC as well for his transfer quarterback in Colin Schlee. So he's going to the MAC, and he's trying to find these guys that are maybe playing a little below the level that they should be and trying to bump them up a level. Carson Steele's dominated the MAC. Colin Schlee has not really played all that much at Kent State over the year because he had some injuries, but he put up good numbers while he was in and has very good measurables. So, yeah, it's going to be a common thing now. Coach is doing this. Chip Kelly, he's not too far off, but he loses his two top offensive playmakers in his quarterback and his running back in Zach Charbonnet and DTR the quarterback. So he's got to replace those guys with experience.
The MAC can play football.
Yeah, and they can. Yeah,
they can play football.
So get some toughness in there into UCLA. So
all right, so there's that. When you get the picture, go ahead, Craig. Anything on Carson Steele you want to add to that?
He's a good running back. Put up good numbers. Saw him constantly in the weekly stats leaders and season leaders and all that, doing stuff for the Earl Campbell Award. He's always a name I came across and kind of followed along with. But yeah, super solid player, definitely deserving of a step up, so to speak. And I think that's a really nice addition for the Bruins.
He's got some 6'1", 210 or 215 as far as how he's listed. 9 games of 100 yards or more during 2022 season, and 4 games with multiple rushing touchdowns. He is originally from Indiana, and you're right, Paul. He's got a thick neck, good-looking kid. He's headed to UCLA. Mississippi State, I mentioned this yesterday. It's now official. Announced it on Twitter or social media, Dillon Johnson, Mississippi State running back, is headed to be at the University of Washington, which is on their way up after this year with what they have going on with the Huskies. And Michael Penix coming back for another year.
Yeah, and they're kind of full at running back anyway, and he adds another running back to that stable. And you guys mentioned yesterday we're in the top 5 about, Washington's offense was good enough against Texas, but it wasn't exactly, it wasn't water cooler talk afterward. Did you see what they were doing? Well, now they've added another piece. This is another piece to protect, Michael Penix from having to do it all himself. So, yeah, like I said yesterday, in the top 5, it's on the up. Washington's certainly on the up. Okay, here's Carson Steele, and tell me, this is if they did Point Break like Origins, this is Bodie from Point Break, Patrick Swayze, early as a young guy.
I'll tell you something, that's a big dude, man. He's a muscled-up young man who's obviously a hell of a running back. So Carson Steele, there you go, Paul. Thanks for that picture. Craig, Dillon Johnson, we knew that yesterday late, but Dillon Johnson to the University of Washington.
Yeah, I mean, to Paul's point, yeah, he definitely has that California boy kind of look, but he's one heck of a running back, like I said a second ago. But yeah, Dillon Johnson seems to be a good pickup for the Huskies. I mean, the Pac-12 really shaping up to be, coming off of a very interesting season, shaping up to be a terrific, thrilling kind of final swan song for USC and UCLA next year. That's their last year, right? Is next year, 2020. Yeah. So that's really shaping up to be, quite the final dance, or the last dance, so to speak, for the Pac-12 as we know it, and probably the Big 12 as we know it as well, even though we'll have this one little buffer year. But it'll be some interesting goodbyes next year in college football. But as far as Dillon Johnson goes, I think Washington's an attractive program right now. I do think that, probably relied a bit too much on Penix and, his receivers at times. I thought the Alamo Bowl, there were some missed opportunities. They're still able to make some big plays. Like Jalen Polk's a terrific player, but it just felt like they just weren't quite on the on the button against Texas, but still we're good enough, obviously. But yeah, I think it's terrific to surround your Heisman Trophy potentially contending quarterback with more weapons than a guy from a solid program like Mississippi State who's got some skins on the wall. Yeah, I'm all for that transfer pickup.
When I thought about Washington, the first thing I thought about was Javion Sunday, who was an incredible running back, high school football player, 5 minutes from where we are in our studio. He just hasn't played. He's had 9 carries for 29 yards, and I know that their running back room has been deep, and at times great young man. He just hasn't played, and you just wonder kind of where he is. He loves it up there based on the feedback I've been given, but he just hasn't broken through what has been a very deep running back room.
Well, Will Nixon's also in that running back room.
Will Nixon, former Midway
and the
player.
reason why those guys weren't popping through was because Tuilapapa was sitting there getting all the carries and the yards for them. That was their dude. We saw him against Texas, out there doing his thing, and great swan song for him. So, I mean, they need running back help, and we just mentioned 2 guys we know randomly that are in that Washington backfield, but we can't say anything that they've done. So clearly, they need some help in that running back room.
2 different styles, too.
And Tuilapapa, was their bell cow, like I said. So there's a lot of carries out there that need to be ate up, and so I think that Dillon Johnson's a great move from that standpoint.
So there you go, Carson Steele to UCLA, and again, Johnson to the University of Washington.
And he's not their only one, because they also got Daniel Gatta from Arizona State as well previous to that. So they've started to add up some guys, not even counting their recruiting class.
We are now joined by Baylor's